Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, welcome back students. So, today we are going to start a new module. In this we will be discussing about the in-pit crushing and conveying system. It is also called IPCC system. Now, this in-pit crushing and conveying system, it is introduced in the surface mining. It is not a very new one, it is in the 60s itself these systems were introduced. However, in many countries this has got recently a little bit more interest in this, because the environmental constraints, the life cycle cost aspects, these are being considered more rigorously. As a result, there is where earlier it was not thought of a best technology for that mines, today it is coming up to be a more useful. So, we will be discussing about this system, but what it is exactly, we know that your by belt conveying system is more economic, because it eliminates the truck fleet which has got a diesel exhaust as well as more diesel consumption, and the electricity is cheaper than the diesel cost. So, because of that, if you can take out, evacuate the run of mine, that coal or ore produced in the mines by conveyor system, it is always good. Now, the problem is the blasted rock mass, that is the mineral or coal produced in surface mining by blasting, often they will be having very large size of boulders. Such type of boulders cannot be loaded onto the conveyor belt, and then the transportation becomes problematic. So, what it was done in that case, this inside the mines, if you have a crushing plant, this crushing plant will size these large size boulders will be crushed into a smaller one and will be carried. At the same time, it is to be also ensured that there more fines do not get generated. So, these things in a in-pit crushing system, basically it consists of that crushing plant which is placed inside the mine, and then the produced crushed sized material, which is also the crushing plant will be also having a screening facility by which the sized material will be taken out from the mine by conveyor belt. As you can see over here, there is a crushing plant, the mines, the materials are coming by truck and giving over here, and there is the crushing plant. From that crushed material, it is loaded into this outgoing conveyor belt by this feeder here. So, this type of system is in-pit crushing conveying system. So, in our this module we will be learning about that how you should be able to explain the components of a IPCC system, and also you should be able to classify different types of such system which are available now, and then you should be able to discuss the selection criteria for what geomining conditions, in what type of coal or what type of rock you will be using these things. And later on, once you know these basic things, you can take up any other problems depending on your interest. So, let us start with this, as I told you that the first utilization it was there in the 60s, and this technology is from Germany. Germany first introduced this technology. Now, as we said that what is the component of a that is in-pit crushing system, we will have to have a crusher, that crushing plant which can be fully mobile, or that means it can be a crawler mounted crusher which can move it, or it can be a tire mounted crushing plant. It will be just following where the shovel is excavating, it will be just going and placing over there. So, it can move, or as the shovel is moving it can also follow at the back side of it, that is a mobile, fully mobile. Sometimes it is a semi mobile which is exactly relocated for some time. As you can see over here, this is the crushing plant which is now on the top of a transporter. This transporter is transporting from one location to another location. So, that because up to that location the material may be brought inside the mine by truck and then loaded over there. So, that is a semi mobile, it is not a mobile, but it can be, and there are certain as a fixed type, that is fixed type means it will be just it will not be dismantled during the life of the mine. It is just maybe at a corner of the pit or at some strategic location it will be placed. Now, depending on that we will have to have a network of conveyors also. From that, wherever the crushing plant is located, from there it will have to be taken out by conveyor belt. If it is a mobile conveyor, that means from there, from the crushers will be having its discharge, and from there it will have to be received by another conveyor belt, and then it will be feeding into the main conveyor belt. So, there could be a network of conveyor which may be it can start near to the crusher, maybe a mobile transfer conveyor which will be transferring the material to a shiftable conveyor belt which will be having a proper feeder, and then that shiftable conveyor belt can give to a number of conveyors, so that the material can be going into a place. Alternatively, this could be also associated with either a high angle conveyor or a pipe belt conveyor. So, there are different combinations possible. At the end, from the conveyor, that material will have to be taken out by a machine called spreader. If you are taking the overburden rock mass, that overburden rock from the conveyor belt will be taken out by a spreader, and you will be forming the overburden dumps. If you are transporting the coal or the iron ore from the mines through this your in-pit crusher, from the in-pit crushers to the conveyor belt, and from the conveyor belt to take it to the stockpiles, it will be done by stacker. So, we have discussed about this stakers and reclaimers and all that, how the stockpiles are from there. So, you have understood that what are the main components of a in-pit crushing and conveying system. You have got the crusher unit, which could be a fixed type or a semi mobile type or a fully mobile type, and then there will be a network of conveyors, and there will be spreader or stakers. So, one thing is clear from here, when this is a system, this system has got more number of the components which are interconnected. When we tell about the shovel and dumper, this combination of systems, we do not have many components, because but there are many numbers of dumpers, a fleet of dumpers will be there. Here we do not have a many fleets, but they are interconnected. But by that, when you will be analyzing, if you want to analyze as a system, this is it will be coming under as a complex system, that is there. But now, we have said that there is a in-pit crushing conveying system. Briefly, I have told also that why it is required, because of it is going to make some cost benefit or environmental benefit or safety benefit. These three things are very, very important. Now, under what situations you may have to have. Now, this is if your high production demand and as you are going deeper and deeper in the mines, then your production demand that will be increasing your this fleet size. If your stripping ratio is very high in a mine, then what will happen, as you will have to remove a large quantity of overburden. Now, that at that time, if your quality of the that your coal or ore which you are being mining, if it is not a very high grade, then the price which you will be getting by selling that will not be sufficient to run a very high cost by deploying a number of trucks. Because if as you are going deeper into the mines, you will have to remove more overburden and a longer distance, as a result more number of trucks. And if the more number of trucks, for each truck at least 3 persons will be required for 3 shifts, and then some your for the that additional about 10% people for managing the human resources. So, a large number of persons need to be deployed. And as there is another thing is this, in the mines, the under the condition geomining conditions, if you are having say a hard rock on which the tire will be moving, the tire will be also damaging faster. So, that means large number of dumpers, means large number of tire will be also getting quickly damaged, and that means your operating cost also will be increasing. So, then in that situations you need to think of an alternative where the more, that is a large fleet is not to be managed to maintain, and then most in the inventory of a trucks the trucks parts or the tires, that will not be necessary. So, now another thing is that is your the fuel price is another important part, that is your, if you are having large fleet, that diesel price is also going high, and that cost of energy for evacuation will become more. So, that is why if you are running, if you can transfer or if you can transport the material by conveyor belt, which will be driven by electric power, is always better. Then another problem is, if you are having a large number of fleets, there the tire and the haul roads are, those are not a metallic road, haul roads are just in the mine this your as a that non metallic roads, on that when a heavy duty trucks will be interacting, lot of dust will be generated. Now, they will easily get airborne, and the whole around it will get dispersed by wind, and that is to a large extent the people will be suffering from, that is your particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10, that is suspended solid particulate matter in the suspended particulate matter in the air will be more. Also, the diesel consumptions in the diesel trucks, they will be giving your that exhaust gases, which is having lot of greenhouse gas also. So, that means it will be contributing to the climate change. So, thinking all that, now we want to do environmentally friendly mining. We want to damage as less as possible to the this environment, and for that a technology required, and that is in IPCC has got the promise for doing it, because it will eliminate truck. Another aspect is, if you look into some statistics in the whole mining industry, the maximum number of that your accidents that come from the transportation sector, wherever there is so the dumpers are running, and the running stocks are always a source of accidents in the mines. So, if you are using this your conveyor belt, then you will not be having many this rolling stocks, that is your many number of trucks on the road, whole road, there will not be any traffic congestions, then there will not be any conflict of the truck and the other small cars traveling on the same road. As a result, there will be that is your safety will be improved. Also that because the people who are working in the mines will not be exposed to more diesel exhaust and solid particulate matter environmental problem, their health related problem also will be reduced. So, for these situations we are telling that there are lot of benefits of using IPCC, but at the same time there may be, because this system will not be flexible, your trucks they are very flexible wherever you want and you can go and collect it from there. So, trucks will not be completely eliminated. If you are using a fixed locations, at least by truck material will have to be taken over there, but as it may be working only at a 1 or 2 levels and there will be short distance. So, number of trucks will be reduced. So, that is so these are there are some small problems, but that can be eliminated. Now, what are the main features then? If we say if this system, it has got a capability of moving high volume of material, it can, that whether ore or the waste, that overburden, it is a continuous system. So, it can transport. Only thing is that if you can make your blasting and the loading system, your the excavation system, if you can improve, your continuously transporting will be very easier. And then of course, there may be the same conveyor belt can be of higher capacity. If your crushing takes longer time, you can make 2-3 crushing plants also can be put over there, and by that way you can achieve the high capacity. And as I already told, it has got the lower operating cost and then your lower dust emission and the safer working. So, you know now what are the benefits and what are that exactly, that is the features, and that will have to be there. Now, when we have said this, that exactly lower operating cost, low emission dust, that is a better safety, I think this can give you an idea that you can take up some mini project to prove this. How analytically you can prove that a lower operating cost. So, those who are serious student, you can take up a simple case. If there, what will be the total energy consumption, what will be its operating cost, what are the other thing, you can develop a cost estimation model and you can prove that whatever statement is given over here is correct or not. Now, we have said that this is a good system, it is there, and how we can say that it is a good and it is accepting, because now a large wide number of a good number of such type of in-pit crushing and conveying systems are there. Every year nowadays, before corona, this in-pit crushing and conveying systems conference, international conference used to be there, and it is that there all the world's case studies are discussed over there. So, that means there is at present also people are thinking about of this technology and they are studying about this technology, and you can see that these in-pit crushing systems can be of different type. One is that is fixed in-pit crushing and conveying system. We say it is a FIPCC, that is a fixed, that means your crushing plant is on a fixed location. There is a semi fixed in-pit crushing and conveying system, which is you can say in 4 or 5 years you can dismantle it and then you can place it in any way. That is a modular type of things can be there, or semi mobile. Semi fixed is that you can dismantle and take it, and semi mobile you can make it to move, it can be lifted on a transporter and the transporter it can move, that is a semi mobile, or it can be exactly a fully mobile in-pit crushing and conveying system. Now, these 4 systems, they have got their own merits and demerits. This fixed type, it can be in ground crushing plant, that is a crushing plant is located fixed on a particular locations or on a rim mounted. That means, it is at the end of the pit or quarry or the mines, they will be mounted over there. So, it can be either on a side of the, that is your high wall, you can make the crushing plant, or you can make on the floor of the mines. Now, the location of the crusher is fixed along the mine's life. That means, this is you select the location in such a way that as you make the calendar plan of the mine, or that how the mine will be exactly expanding in x, y and z direction over time, but then your this particular location will not get disturbed and you will be keeping the crushing plant through for the whole life of it. Only thing, you will have to select that location of the crushing plant in such a way that towards the end of the mine, from the face, how much distance it will be coming. If you can locate it properly and you expand the mine or progress the mine in such a way that this distance always remain optimal, that is your throughout the life your cost can be minimized. So, this is a part where we do the analysis of your total life cycle costing analysis to find out where this should be located, if we are thinking of a fixed location. Because if you are taking you are having a strike length of 5 kilometer and then you start the mining at a place, say at the end of it, then at the towards the end of your mine, it will be 3 to 4 kilometer that material will have to come up to the crushing plant. So, that means, that is going to be a costly affair. So, that is why initially where you will be giving the initial mine cut, there the locations will have to be thought, and then the fixed location of your crusher will be placed in such a way that where your mining has started, initial box cut, they say that near the box cut is also chosen in such a way that mine can be expanding these directions or in these directions or in a forward. So, that throughout the life of the mine, the distance to be traveled from the your face to the crusher, it does not go and extravagant, and that your cost remains as a constant. If your operating cost, you can keep it as a constantly throughout your life, then it will be good for planning your economic planning of the mine. So, these are the things which they looked into it, and there this type of locations they can be there. We will be discussing about how the crusher is there as a on a rim. They are having a, that is sure at a 2 levels the crushing is taking place, and then giving it to a conveyor belt, and from that conveyor belt the material will go. Similarly, in case of your semi fixed type, what it is done? It is located in a strategic junction point, relocation less than 5 to 10 years. That if you are having a 25-30 years of that year mine, then you are not bothering about initially locations, you keep it, that is you have done, and then after 5-10 years you shift it. So, that your again the transportation distance from the face to the mine, it can be kept controlled. So, at least for a you consider the economics of for 5 to 10 years, and after that it may happen that the crushing plants, their life is also, some of the components life also will be over there, they will require replacement. So, you plan in such a way that when some of the parts are going to be replaced and the major overhauling is required, at the time of that your mines also will be progressing in such a way that your this overhauling time you will be doing a major overhauling and replacement, and you will relocate into a new position. That is how exactly that your mines, the whole bulk material handling is planned over there. So, similarly, in case of your semi mobile, you are exactly, it can be transported, you can that whole material, whole things can be taken into the next positions by without dismantling, you will making them to move, and then that can be done say within 3 years or 5 years also, you can keep the changing the locations. And then the fully mobile one, this fully mobile unit means it will be just crawler mounted or rail mounted, and it will be going over there, that is it will follow the main your excavating machinery. So, and there you need not have the truck, that is your the crushing plant, it will be having a hopper, and then your shovel will be loading onto the hopper of the crusher. So, by that you are eliminating the truck inside the mine also. So, this is a system normally that in some of the quarries, small quarries and this stone quarries, some of this even in iron ore or some of the hard rock mines, they use this type of system. So, these are some of the system which is there. You can see that how a fully mobile unit looks like. You can see over here, that is, this is the hopper, and then you can have this part, the crushing part is there, that it get crushed, the crushed material getting loaded over here, and then from there it is going to conveyor belt. So, that is how you can see a component of such a crusher. You can see here this end, the hopper is, you are having, this is the hopper part, this hopper, and then it is giving onto this apron feeder, and there we are having a propel mechanism, the travelling mechanism. You can see it is a crawler mounted, whole crushing plant is movable on this crawler, and then it has got all these electrical control systems for the drives of all the motors, that is for the crawler, for the feeder, for the conveyor belt, for the crusher, all are there, that electric box, and that whole, there will be a, from that electric power can be taken over there, or in some cases that is you may have the trailing cable connected to this, so that the power can be taken over up to here, and then it will be following into this. And then we are having the discharge conveyor. This is the discharge conveyor from the crusher, it is giving over there, and then there is a hydraulic boom by which it is a if any big things are there which is to be removed, like that, for that a hydraulic boom, it could be a rock breaker. If the feed size is very big, then that cannot be fed to the crusher over here, then it can be broken by this hydraulic boom breaker. And then there is a twin roll crusher. We will be discussing later that there are different type of crusher. For coal, these twin roll crushers are there. I think in the crushing discussions we have told about it. And then there is a electromagnet for, if any this your electromagnetic the electromagnet is kept, if any magnetic, that is scrap iron is coming over here, that will be removed by this. We discussed also in some other class, and then we can have a operator cabin. So, this is the way how the components are there in case of your that in-pit crushing systems. There could be, you can see here also, this is the system that the whole crusher unit is there, and then from the crusher units it is feeding to the evacuation conveyor belt. So, the benefits we have already said, you know now, that is, it is exactly the elimination of the dump trucks at that optimum life cycle cost, but the drawback is it will require the capital investment will be very high. Though the operating cost may be less, but the capital investment is more. So, when you do the financial analysis, you can find out how it will be, what is the optimal, what is the turning point. Then all type of ore cannot be done over there, that is also a issue in this. Then your depending on the mine planning and the operational reliability, that sometimes it affect, and those drawbacks can be removed with proper maintenance planning. So, this is, then you can make it reliable to work, and because their systems should not, if any breakdown in that or any that choking takes place in the feeding or any type of maintenance problem will stop your evacuation part. So, that is why the whole system reliability or the system capacity utilization may be brought down if you do not take proper care. So, that is where the question line is. Now, you can see that this in-pit crushing systems, that is it improves feasibility of the belt conveyor, because as I said here, its main purpose is normally for there is a maximum lump size of the conveyor belt that can carry. But thing is that though for your if you keep the maximum lump size say 500, it is 500 millimeter, if you are having a 0.5 meter, it should be a belt of your 1300 millimeter belt, which will have to be here. In this horizontal axis is the width of the belt, and then this vertical axis is the your lump size. Normally, if you are having a to say in this is your 2000 millimeter point, at a 2000 millimeter point, theoretically you should be able to use a your lump size about 800 millimeter. It can easily you can do it. This is a theoretical capability, but in practical it is seen that if you put that one, there will be problem, either it's siding way or it is that belt may sway. Then practically it is only less than 500 can be conveyed over here. So, that is why when you use a crushing crusher, you are keeping the bulk material size within less than 300, less than 400 millimeter, and that is why it becomes more economic. Now, this different features that a mobile crushing unit you will have to have, you can study. There are a number of things that where what are the main features. Your mobile equipment should be reasonably compact, so that it can move, and then it will have to have a small turning radius depending on the in the face. It will have to be maneuverable, it will have to be flexible, and it should be it should not demand a lot of infrastructure for construction and operation. It should be easily erectable at the your mine site, and then your where the material from there, when you will be giving it to the next phase. So, that phase where the blasting will be taking place, so that this how the fly rocks and all will not have to disturb it over there. So, your system will have to have the adequate protection. So, these are the expected features in your mobile crusher. Now, there are different manufacturers, they are giving these machines, and you can see the designs depending on the innovations and the considerations of the manufacturer. You may find out different type of them. Now, this what will be the type of crusher? It can have a cone crusher, gyratory crusher, jog crusher, roller breaker, any type of can be, but depending on for the rock you will have to make that compatibility. The crush product should be easily transferred to the transporting units, that is how you will be evacuating, feeding it. It can give it directly, or you can have a that is your that conveyor belt as a discharge boom. In this particular model, you can see here is a small discharge boom, where you are having a 1200 millimeter belt width is there. So, depending on the size of the crusher and the material, that the throughput rate, how much ton per hour it is giving, you can have the size and dimensions decided. So, these are once you know that in your operation your characteristics, that is your requirements are specified, then accordingly it could be designed, and there are a lot of companies they have done over here. So, like Takarov, then you can think of this Stanvik, then number of companies, number of national companies they have also started making it. And as an illustration of that whole system when it is used, you can see here that is it is a rim mounted or fixed type of your mobile crushers here, or a semi fixed type. Trucks are coming and giving onto the hopper here, they will be giving the material. There will be 2-3 stages of crushing as a vertically, and then they are going to give in this to the feeder, and the material is coming by this belt feeder to that hopper, and then from that hopper it is going to, this is a pipe belt conveyor. Here this conveyor belt is getting opened over here, and then at the end we are having a take up arrangements, and this whole belt is turned, so that the lower portions will be going also making a pipe here, and this is the I showed you earlier in the conveyor discussions how the pipe belt conveyor is used. So, this is one of the schematic diagram of a system how it can be used in the mines. Now, you will have to select the crusher and the in-pit crusher. So, we will be coming and we will be discussing those things in our next class. I hope you have understood the importance of in-pit crushing system and how it will do. There are the references given over here, and you can search them in the internet now from the lectures, find out the main keywords and do a Google search and find out some study material. So, this IPCC system is introduced and their classification is discussed today. Takarov, Shenvik and many other companies produce this in-pit crusher of different features. So, students must watch the operating videos of these machines in the YouTube before undertaking any analytic study. So, please acquaint yourself with this system. There are many good videos are available in YouTube. You will know it that how exactly the combination of different components can be made to work as a system, as which is called in-pit crushing and conveying system.